TakeoffTone of Hidden Gen Racing. If you haven't heard of Steph Curry, then you're very new to the space. We have Swami. He should be showing up soon. As normal, it's myself, Golden Globe Master, and MJ Stables, the man of the analyzation of everything Zed Run data related. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing good, man. Happy to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks for showing up.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Appreciate
Appreciate
it.
it.
Yes,
Nice to
sir.
have you on. So just kind of like to kick things off by asking, like, and we just talked about this a little off
Yeah.
stream, but what got you into Zed? And then like, how did you get in? And then is there anyone? I mean, you're obviously really high up in the kind of status in the community with Steph, but is there anyone that you kind of look up to or look towards within the community?
How I got started, Big Jim NFTs, my partner in all this. He's kind of a little more silent. I'm more outgoing, so that's why everybody sees my face more often. But he was huge in the Top Shot in early March or something like that, and he was really trying to sell me on Top Shot, and like I just couldn't really get with the idea of Top Shot. I'm like, dude, what if they just keep making more moments? That was all I said. Like, what if they just keep making more moments? Then what happens? Like, there's nothing to stop them from turning every play into a moment. So, like, I didn't really like that. And he was super hard into it. He went off in that. And, once you get into Top Shot, you get kind of in the NFT loop. And then he told me about Zed Run, and I saw Zed. I understood scarcity. I went to school for econ. Supply and demand is very simple to know when the genocide or whatever the plural of that is, when they're all gone, prices go up. That's super simple. So that kind of got me digging around, and that's how it all started. And then as
Nice.
far as people I kind of look up to in the community, it's mostly all the people I've had like personal interactions with. And like one of the guys who I talk to probably the most is Jack with Good Boy Racing.
Okay.
He's super informative, really smart guy. He knows what he's doing. He knows his stuff. And just from talking about like breeding potentially, and like him just talking about Steph, he kind of showed me the ropes a little bit, starting out early on. Obviously, there's Doofy and Poseidon; those guys are amazing. If it
Yeah.
wasn't for them, I would have probably never brought Steph. I kind of got Steph off of watching their YouTube videos and just like matching their criteria to what I saw in that Matic monstrosity back in the day. But yeah, so those are some guys I look up to, and that's how we got here.
Awesome, awesome. I was kind of looking at your stable and looking at a little bit of history. Two horses, obviously one of them being Steph, really stood out to me. Do you mind telling us how you ended up getting Steph for price? I believe it was 0.07, and what you saw in Steph at the time.
So basically, like I said, we're new starting out in Zed. We kind of went and watched some Poseidon videos. I understood, like, he said you want to get 4 to 5 horses starting out. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, come up short and be upset. So me and my partner, we did some digging separately. We both found 2 horses we like. We bought both of those horses, and then we had a little bit of extra leftover funds, and we're like, okay, we can get one more horse. Like, what should we get? And we're like digging around, looking at different breeds and different DNAs and all that stuff, and trying to find like the best thing that we think is the best that we can afford, at the time. And we're around that point one to like 0.07 range. And I'll never forget, dude. There's this horse. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but there's another horse. Oh, QuantumScape. There's a horse I
Hmm.
was looking at that I wanted, and it was QuantumScape. And Big Jim is like, hey, Steph has, knock blood or whatever. Like, that could be cool. We don't have exposure to that in our stable. And this is early on. We didn't understand how important that was or anything like that. So, I mean, he said knock blood. I go look at the knock prices. I'm like, I'll never be able to afford this. This is our best shot. Breeding's closed. Let's try it, And we put Steph on the track after we raced all the donkeys we had. And it was a nice little sweet surprise at the end.
So you go in with the intention of buying 4 or 5. You have basically leftover money from buying those first few that you it sounded like kind of like planned to purchase, like very well thought
Yeah.
out. Not that Steph wasn't, but then Steph just kind of like fell into your lap almost and ended a goal in a few months? How do you view success?
So for us, I think just because of the position that we've been put in, how privileged I've been, and just really just blessed at the way that things have went for me, especially with talking to other people. I'm here forever, man. Like I don't have any plans of selling my. Like I would be crazy to take this blessing and be like, oh, I'm gonna go sell it and try to get out. So I'm gonna hang on to my horses, and I'm hoping that my success is attached to Zed's success, and that Zed is very successful, and that goes hand in hand with my brand and our personal building, and just you know growing in the gaming space and streaming as well, and all that. So that's what I think is success is just sticking it out, having some diamond hands, and making some profit along the way.
So it sounds like you kind of want to continue to build on your brand then to kind of if Zed grows then you grow. Any specific
Definitely.
plans relating to that?
Right now, if you've looked at my stable in the past couple of days, we went from having like 16 horses to having like six because we sent in some other horses that I didn't really have time to focus on. I'm running two stables already as is. So I got one of my friends set up. He's racing on a different stable, running our other horses. Like we have a horse named Bango. He's pretty solid. I haven't really had time to, pick through races and really find his niche because he's not Steph. Steph is it was
Mm-hmm.
a weird start for me because I got out here and I'm like, oh wow, this horse can do everything. This is awesome. He can run in any race against anybody and it doesn't matter. And that's not the reality of the game. So it's kind of like a humbling experience to be like, oh, like he has step piece all the way up here, this and this and that. And I'm like, dude, I don't even understand half the things that you guys understand. I still have to like learn that. So
Yeah.
we're just moving our horses around and trying to get everyone to be ran at least 20 times to see what they're good at before we start putting horses out in the market that aren't unnamed, unraced, and stuff like that.
Sure, sure. I like it. I like it. So with kind of you mentioned moving horses around, how do you approach or think about race selection?
So like I said with the Curry thing,
Yeah,
Curry
outside of Curry.
I was going to say Curry race selection is $10 to $25 and up. Find it, 2K up, run. That's it. It's
Yeah.
super simple. And now on another one of my stables, I have a child VT and I have another like Finney I bred or whatever, and they're pretty solid horses. But these are horses that require better race selection. So I'm kind of just going through, looking at the speed numbers, checking out the different variances and all that stuff. Just trying to maximize my horse's potential.
Hmm.
So I think race selection is something I'm still getting better at because I've been so spoiled, but it's definitely something that like everyone needs to take into consideration because that's how you win at the end of the game. You profit or you sell horses because you know what you're doing. It's not just a guy out here like me madly clicking and entering whatever you can.
So what kind of struggles are you coming up against with that race selection?
I'm writing. Well, previously it was the times because of the time in which I started playing Zed, my attention span was so small. I'm used to click, sign up, race, check odds, whatever. It's all instant gratification, and now I'm just kind of finding that it's not always instant, and it probably won't be forever. So I have to just like learn a little bit more patience and kind of try to wait for the races, like your best races. If I have a horse that's going to run the best at 1800, I need to wait for 1800.
Yeah.
1600 is not 1800. But with having Curry, I'm like, he's good anywhere from here to here to here. When in reality, it's more like this is his specialty. You need to find it, find your niche, and get in
Y-
there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
How is Curry performing at the moment? With the field being bigger, is the odds still like at nines in all classes, or
Yeah, he's
did
still
it get
pulling
lower?
basically nines and lower in all
Yeah.
classes. A couple times he's been bumped. He hasn't really. I don't think he's. I could be wrong, but I don't think he's ever seen 11. I think he's seen
Wow.
like 10 point like 3 or 4, and that's in those like really tough like $500 pots and stuff. So Curry is pretty strong against all competition. And just because of that, I try to be more mindful of the community and not race him in $2 races where he'll get six odds and just ruin the game for everybody else. So that's
Thank
kind of
you.
how
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, that's what I was saying on my stream because like I'd wake up and I'd check Discord and people are like, oh, stuff this, stuff that, just crazy hate messages. I'm like, I'm a person, like I'm not some super villain out here trying to steal y'all money or anything. So I've just been racing him 10 and up, and his odds really haven't been damaged.
Okay. And I know. A lot. Okay, MJ just joined. Or excuse me, Swami just joined. I'll get him on in a second. I just want to ask you this question. What are your thoughts as far as an expanded class system? I was one of those Steph Curry haters. Not a
Yeah,
hater per
no, that's
se.
it.
I was a fan, and I'm still a fan of the horse. But I always felt like he belongs in like class 2 or class 1. And so, what are your thoughts going forward into how Zed should update the class system?
So I'm glad you asked me this because I've been wanting to say it for a long time. I don't get enough characters on Twitter, but I think that like, I mean, this is obviously I don't understand game building and all that stuff on the back end, but I think that it would probably be best if we had like a tiered class system. Like we already have classes 1 through 5. Why don't we have like 1A, 1B, all that stuff? So then you can have the horses that have 200 plus races or even 100 races. They have to race in real class 1 or class 2 or class whatever. And then you have the new horses that people are still like feeling out and learning, and there would be in like an entire different bracket almost. You know what I mean? So then people who have a horse that they just got that they want to race for the first time after the Griffin don't have to run into Steph Curry. You know what I mean? Because then after maybe 200 races or 50 races or any number of races, then they could graduate potentially to that level. But I don't think that it should be the way it is now because, like I said, if I really wanted to, I could run Steph in $2 races all day and he'd have like a 50% win rate or something crazy like that. You know what I mean? And, like that would just be it would look cool for his stats, but it would ruin the game for a lot of people. So I just feel like it's part of the community is just being like mindful, of stuff like that, and trying not to manipulate the system that people already know is flawed. So that's how I feel about the class system, and I feel like that could potentially be an answer, but who knows what we're gonna get. But I know one thing is sure for it's certain, and that's they're not gonna leave it the way it is. Everybody's sick of how it is now, so there will be some kind of change.
Someone's
So,
gonna get pissed off by it.
Oh
so
yeah.
for the listeners at home who are watching now and the future on YouTube, he's not an asshole. He's not. He's a real person. He's trying to make money just like everybody else. And he agrees that the class system is messed up. Just in case you didn't get it, I'll spell it out for you.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that. They're like, "Oh, he's just abusing the class system." I'm like, how else can I? Do you just want me to not play? Like, I have to race somewhere. I went up to $10. No more $5 races, no more whatever. I thought that would be good enough. The hate never stops, but it's all kind of fun of
I,
the game.
I feel like a lot of people don't understand that too. Of like, in a way, that is kind of like a tier within the class. Is the entry level? People just think, oh, it's still class 5, so if I do $10, it's automatically going to be similar to $2, and
Right.
it very rarely is that the case. And I feel like some people can get frustrated by that. Um,
I know I won my first $15 race after 3 months, and I was like, yes, yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Normally, like I switched my strategy up because I took a long term breeding strategy, and it just wasn't. I was impatient. I got paper handed, I guess,
Mm.
as the new term is, and I sold my Genesis horses and bought some exclusive racers. One's winning at a pretty 20 something% win rate. It's in like $2 and $5 races, but I had to change my strategy up because
nice.
Zed was just getting annoying because I didn't have any winners. I had donkeys. I don't have all donkeys now, people. I have one winner at least.
I love it.
I
I
haven't
love
changed
it.
the name of my stable because either from this area, Wisconsin, you probably hate the Bears, but
Oh,
Mike
not me.
Sing.
I'm a Bears fan.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I'm a
Mike
I'm a Patriots
convert.
fan.
Singletary.
I'm neutral.
Mike Singletary's I Want Winners. That's the name of my stable now. I want
That's amazing.
I
winners.
like it. I like it.
uh,
All
and
right.
oh,
Go ahead.
okay. And so, have you been looking at like speed data and for your other horses besides Curry? Have you been looking at speed data besides odds and trying to determine your horse's best attributes?
I've just started digging into speed data like last week because I
Okay.
have a child of, well, maybe like 2 weeks ago. I got a child of Victorious Taurus, and he's looking pretty good, but he's not his dad. He's not just out there super ridiculously dominant. So I kind of have to, look at the odds a little bit more, dig into the other data, which like, Haiku, Know Your Horses, MJ's stuff as well. they kind of help you dive a little bit more into that. So that's something I'm pretty new at looking at. And I don't completely understand it, to be honest, but I do, get the basic, like what the numbers mean as far as like math and different variances and all that stuff. So that's been something that's been new for me that I've been trying to learn recently.
Love it. Love it. Going through kind of questions here. Shifting gears. So you said you've got an offspring of Victorious Taurus. What are your thoughts, or kind of what is your approach to breeding?
So I guess my approach just is pretty much the same as a lot of people's, man. I'm just looking to try to breed racers. Like, I'm not just breeding, there are a lot of stables out here that are just pretty much bots who don't play the game, and they're just breeding just to breed. They want to make the cheapest horses possible, and they want to sell them for a profit. And I'm kind of, breeding to make a dynasty of winning horses. So I'm looking to get the best blood that I can and just try to make the best horses I can as far as like legendary Fennies and Zabos and all that stuff. And I've been lately trying to get away from messing around with buttes too much because it's hard to stand out versus the people who have, 100 of them and they just make, nonsense breeds, butte on butte versus, like it's a butte on butte, Z20 versus like Z13 or something like Curry. Like a lot of new people can't really differentiate those yet. So I'm just trying to, keep my horses because I know that I'm breeding, with intention. So I'm not breeding to sell, more so just breeding to like build out my stable and test my own different theories and whatnot.
I like it. I like it.
Well, part of that has to be because there's just so many buttes, and like if you notice, when the Nakamoto Genesis goes in for minimum, everybody's on it.
Yep.
Our other Zabo Genesis goes in for minimum, everybody's on it, and so it like a lot of people are forced to breed with Buterin on Buterin or Buterin on Finney and so forth and so on. It's just because like there's never going to be a lot of Nakamoto's in comparison to Buterins, so people are going to have to force themselves to learn exactly how breeding works, and we still haven't figured it out, people. Just everybody in general, we still haven't figured it out. I got like 20 breeding theories, and because they slowed down the process for breeding, I will not be able to get that test all my theories until like next year sometime. And that's part of the reason I switched my stable up. I had to eat to keep breeding, but they slowed it down. 1 second though, Swami is just now getting here.
Awesome. Swami,
Hey,
what
Swami,
up?
on, guys?
how you doing,
man?
Welcome,
Doing
welcome,
well.
welcome.
Sorry, little internet trouble.
No worries.
It's okay. Swami of Apes Racing, I'll give him a quick introduction. He's in the same generation as TakeoffTone. Came in between the came in before breeding got closed down. I've made it there. I've made a thing of generations. People were generation one, people who were here before racing. Generation two, people who were here before the Great Reset. Generation three is people in Tone and Apes, or excuse me, Swami's era. People were here before breeding got shut down. Generation five, which is my generation, the generation that got here after breeding got shut down and before it opened. And then the last generation is everybody here after the Echo drop and breeding opened.
See, I guess I would be Gen 5 then, because I got here I literally got here the day after breeding closed.
Oh,
the first
wow.
time. Like, I had no idea that breeding closed or anything. I didn't even know about breeding until I bought my first horses, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go breed. Oh, we can't do that right now.
Apes, you muted yourself too. Okay. Yeah, sorry.
So Apes, we were just talking about breeding, and I noticed in your stable, I think I counted 33 horses.
Yeah,
so I want to take kind
probably
of
too many right now.
Step back from that a little bit. How do you manage that many horses in one stable?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't manage that many horses. Basically, the last couple of weeks, I've had to have that conversation with myself where I mean, this next breeding cycle, I'll for sure be selling a lot more of them. I did want to keep some of the legendaries in house, but I spent probably 3 hours the other night entering 45 races. 15 horses that I'm trying to figure out. Like they had less than 10 races each, and I mean, it took me all night, and I was like, oh, this is I got to find a better way.
Wow, that's a commitment right there. That is a commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I need to consolidate a little bit.
with go ahead, Golden Glow. Were you gonna say something?
Hey, Swami, I just want to know what got you into Zed and how were you exposed?
So I actually saw a tweet from a guy named Darren Ravel on Twitter, and it was like
No way.
right after the April 2nd drop. And I follow Darren Ravel for I guess like football and just gambling type stuff mostly. And he had been part of that April 2nd drop. And so I had never heard about Zed until then. And I was just like, I mean, this is cool. And I started watching videos, and, of course the next drop didn't happen for like 2 months, but, or I guess a month. It was like May 8th was the next drop. But yeah, I came in like right after that. I guess it took 24 hours for them to sell out that drop. And then it just kind of ramped up from there. I bought my first horse on OpenSea, and it was kind of a donkey. So then I started buying some more and more, and then May 8th drop came, and that's kind of when the floodgates opened.
Oh wow!
I had no idea Ravel was in Zed Run.
Dude, you've never seen him.
I don't know if he is, but I think
I don't follow him
I
on
haven't
my
heard
Zed
much.
account.
I think he's a flipper. He just tweets
he
about, like,
would be a
random
flipper.
price. Yeah, he just tweets
He
about, like,
would.
price
I would
and
see
stuff
that.
like that.
Nerd.
Yeah.
No way, that's wild. Okay, that's cool. Sorry, little sidebar there.
Super awesome.
Well, that's awesome. So with like all of your horses, Swami, how do you even begin
Yeah.
to like consider or breed? Like, do you have a strategy to it? Are you just trying to play with different combinations?
So first, I wanted to like I had some that I bought like specifically to breed with each other. Like I have one horse named Outburst, who is kind of one of my first better horses. And when they changed the breeding rules where you could only have one offspring per month, a guy actually reached out to me and was like, "Hey, I know you wanted to breed with her. Do you want to buy her?" And so I bought a horse called Ever Perfection. They're both
What a name.
Z7 Finnies. They're pretty good matches, and they have the same coat color. So like to try to make it a little easier on myself, I was like eliminating some variables by staring at coat colors first. I'll look at coat colors, and then if I don't find something I like inside of that, then I'll kind of expand further. But I was staying in bloodlines to start. I haven't had much success with that, but I am trying to stay like Buterin on Buterin, Finny on Finny.
That's
Interesting.
crazy. I guess now that I think about it, I thought I had success with staying in bloodlines, but I guess I really haven't either. I have one like legendary Finny that makes me feel like, yeah, that worked, and that was a good idea. You know what I mean? And all the rest of them have not been nearly as good.
My best legendary Finny is one that I bought off of OpenSea on accident. So
On accident, that's awesome.
yeah,
What's the name of that horse?
I thought it was a Genesis. That is Fatigue.
Okay.
So I was just
What a
like,
name.
I just had some. I did name it. So it was unnamed. I don't know. I think my filters expired on Haku, and I saw Z10 for 0.2 unraced, and I just bought it, snapped it up.
Right? You're like, oh, that's a steal. And
But it worked out. It worked out.
Yeah, looking at the stats, it really was a steal.
Yeah.
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 That's a good
That's wild. That's wild. That's awesome. So like when looking at horses then to buy, like what is more important to you, I guess kind of like right now, if you were looking to buy hypothetically, are you looking at like Lineage? Like are you looking to go like back and like, excluding Genesis, obviously, like who did this breed with? Or are you like, oh man, no, Genesis. So like I like to ask the question of like bloodline versus blood.
Sure. So I do focus more on Genesis, but more of just like trying to find, I guess, the value in the market. If I see a good deal, like I'm pretty well versed on the market and like what everything's worth. So if I see a good deal pop up, I'll snap it up and then relist it, pretty quickly.
Yeah.
If nobody buys it at the price I'm willing to sell it at, then eventually I'll race them. But if I find a good deal, I'll buy it. Recently, I have been buying some bloodline plays. I got a Breathless Edge offspring, and I got a Zion offspring recently.
Nice.
But that, you know, guys are kind of like reaching out to me to make those deals happen. So I don't know if I was looking for them or if it's just like the right deal came in front of me.
Awesome.
What about you, Takeoff Tone?
The question was about buying horses, correct?
Yeah, so like do you look more at like the lineage of like the bloodline, or do you look at like the actual, sorry, like the blood of the horse that has like gone into it, or are you looking more of like, man, I really just want to get like, you know, Genesis Knock, Genesis Sabo, that maybe might not be as good of a racer, but like maybe to help build out with stable at like a higher level.
Yeah, right now that's where I'm at. I'm looking to kind of build out my stable at a higher level. I'm looking to get potentially a Nakamoto, more Sabos. I just see, long-term value in that because there's, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's like under 60 left to be dropped. So
Yes.
pretty soon there's going to be a crazy price spike going on in those, and it'll become where the Nakamotos are now. The Zabos will be there, and they'll be totally out of reach to most people. So I'm just trying to get in and get involved in that, unraced or raced in any way I can, just to build out my stable from a Genesis standpoint. Because, like I said, man, next year realistically, a lot of people are going to be priced out of Genesis. So I'm just trying to consolidate there as much as I can. And then I do, from time to time, again, dig in again, and like you said, find some value and find some good bloodlines, and just find some horses that look like they were bred intentionally. Like I want to see some thought put into breeding. I'm not going to buy anything that's a unraised parent, unraised child. Like that's as big of a, just throw away or toss up as you can get. So I just want to see some intentional breeding done by people, and then that's where I'm looking to purchase.
I think that's a really good point of like evaluating like not only if you're buying like legendary or below from like a standpoint, but like looking at then what was the intention? Like, can you see the strategy behind the parents behind it? And like,
Right.
why was this done? Was it done for coat? Was it done for performance? Was it done just because it was going to be cheap? Um, and evaluating that, I think that's really important and often overlooked, or at least not something that's talked about too often.
Yes, I agree. I think a lot of people were trying. I think a lot of people. I know myself. The first night of breeding. I looked up the best Genesis horse because I only had legendaries. I looked up the best Genesis horse with the highest win percentage that had the same exact coat. I went for a super coat. Didn't get it though. And
Of course not.
then with the offspring, it turned out to be exactly like its mother. She's the average horse. And so I thought the horse would have improved. She's wins some, she loses some, but she's mainly a second place finisher, which isn't bad. It's profitable, but for the type of races she's capable of racing in, it's only $6, so it's not gonna like make any money. And
Right.
so for the second set round, I tried to breed the offspring with the best Genesis horse of that coat cutter. Still didn't get the super coat. So now I don't think I'm gonna go for super coats anymore. I know a lot of people just from looking at breeding. A lot of people went for super coats, and people, it's not easy.
No,
I
no, it's
was so
still a really small
surprised.
amount.
What was that?
I was just saying I was so surprised that everyone going for super coats, because that's kind of like the opposite of what I was doing. The last thing I was considering was coat color. I'm like, we need beast. I want to find the best 1800 meter horse and breed it with my 1800 meter horse and potentially make an 1800 monster. Like, I don't care if the horse is brown or purple or yellow or whatever. I'm like, I just want a beast. Please
Yeah.
give me more, So I was really surprised to see the data on how many people even attempted to make super coats. I'm like, geez, maybe I should try that. Maybe I should try matching up coat colors, have some luck there.
I don't know if that's like the best strategy. I know for me, like personally, it was my first breeding experience, so it was just trying to kind of like reduce the amount that I was looking at. But yeah, because I didn't get any super coats. And now that I've got some studs that bred really good horses, super coats pretty much are going out the window, because like I want that. Now I want this stud to breed with this female, because it's producing good offspring.
Yeah, nice. It's breeding's crazy. breeding's crazy.
How's your
Yeah.
breeding going, MJ? Because I know your horses came up.
Oh
Red
yeah.
Dragon and the other one.
Horrible. I got two donkeys.
Yeah.
From one, and then just kind of tested something out with Eric Wong,
Okay.
and we got a little bit of an improvement. Still kind of early to tell, but not like a absolute monster race or anything like that, but comparatively,
Mhm.
slight improvement. So pretty happy with that. And just kind of having fun with it, trying to keep it within my stable somewhat, or at least I'll say close to my stable,
Yes.
if that makes sense. So yeah, just still trying to kind of figure some things out. So if you guys you're starting over, you don't have any horses in your stable, but you have all the knowledge you do now. You have $500. What are you buying to get into Zed?
What's that, like
Is that
0.15 ETH or something like
Yeah.
that?
That should be. Oh, has it gone up?
No, it's like 0.15.
Really? Okay, so
that should be
let's say it's like
point two, right? Is that
point
0.15?
0.25 ETH.
Okay.
Okay,
All
0.25.
right, we're speaking in ETH. It helps me.
So
Think
500
a
is
little more.
0.2 ETH. Yeah, let's go
Oh, okay.
0.25 ETH.
Okay, 0.25. We're just starting out. Apes, do you want to take this one first?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like personally, I would, I mean, this might just show a little light into how I think about things, but I'd buy like a donkey Genesis male, and then I'd find $500 more and buy a female. Because I mean, like, so the donkey Genesis male is what I would go for, but like, if that's all your money, I don't know how fun it will be to, it won't be fun to race it. I promise you that, and
Yeah.
it won't be profitable to race it. So it would suck to like spend all your money on that. But I'm very bullish on Genesis males just for the future. Like, you don't have to worry about picking a mate. You don't have to worry about selling the offspring and wind up with 35 horses in your stable. You just put it in stud and take some passive income.
Let it ride.
Yeah.
That's pretty solid. I think I'd kind of go the opposite there. If I had 0.25, I'd do like, I mean, it's kind of easy to say in hindsight, but I'd do things the same way that I did it. Obviously, I wouldn't get Curry again because that's just insane luck. But I would take my 0.25, I'd divide it, a 0.05 each and go buy as many cheap legendary buttes that people are like the horses that I said I would avoid previously. I would go buy those now because breeding stud minimums are going to go up. Those horses will cost more to make in maybe even a month. So I'd go grab 4 or 5 unraced, maybe a girl and 3 guys or something, just see what I can get and just go out there and try to have fun, because then like kind of like, the Genesis is a safer investment. Obviously the price will go up. That's more safe. But as far as like trying to enjoy the game and really get like a feel out of it, I still feel like it's best if you get at least 3 horses, because then you can do the whole process. You can name it, you can race it, you can try all that. And there's so many people just making, or they're like, what was the floor today? I think for legendaries, like someone said it in Gen Chat that it was like 0.03. I would buy.
Oh, well, I took the weekend off. Things have changed drastically.
Yeah, they said,
Yeah.
they said it's been like dropping. So I mean, if I could find anything between 0.03 and 0.05, I'd buy all those
Yeah.
unraced legendaries I can and try to hope I hit on a racer. And if not, breed it. You still get exclusive. You're not at the bottom of the barrel. You can build back up to get a Genesis. Hopefully later, because as soon as that the last drop is announced, that changes everything. So that would be my strategy now, at least.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a great point. And if you do get one racer out of those 3 or 4 unraced that you find, you can buy 5, donkey Genesis males.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know 5, but you can buy a lot more
At
than.
least,
You can scale up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna answer a question from not a question but a statement that was brand counterproductive. Okay, so Chewy Kukuruza said poor racers don't get stud off, and I think, what are your thoughts? And so right now, the reason poor racing Genesis studs aren't getting sniped per se is because there is still still a small sample size. When people get down to the exclusive level, and let's say we have 750,000 horses on the platform, and we're not even close to that at the moment, the Genesis horses, if you want to stay at the exclusive or the elite level, You're not going to be able to get Nakamoto's unless you're going to pay because the price is going to go up. Not going to be able to get Zabos either because the price is going to go up on that because, contrary to popular opinion, they're the same amount of Zabos that there are Nakamoto's. You're going to be struggling to find a Fenny, so all these Beauty Ring Genesis coats will be studded if you want to stay at the exclusive or the elite level. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but I think we're all bullish on Zed, and I think that's the play, the long-term play at least.
Yeah.
Definitely. I agree. I think that it's just it's a growing pains. You know what I mean? Like right now, the ecosystem is growing, but there's not the supply isn't matching the demand for those studs yet, and it's gonna happen. It's inevitable. We've seen since April, 4x in users at least, and like things are getting crazy. Breeding's open back up. There's so many horses. So it's just a timing thing, and I mean a lot of people want that instant stud money, you know, but you got to remind yourself that when you're putting it in for the minimum and you have a donkey, you're only at this point in time getting like $30 or something anyway. So, you know, just keep in mind that it will go up and it will be more profitable later, definitely.
So looking forward to go ahead, Swami.
Sorry, I was gonna agree. Yeah.
Oh, so like kind of thinking about like that and like the Genesis horses like increasing in price, breeding, fees increasing. What other things like do you see happening in the future for Zed outside of, you know, things like fatigue, possibly changes to odds, things like that? Like what are some things that maybe you would be looking forward to, whether you think they'll actually happen or not?
Probably something with the super coats would be my thought. Like they have to make super coats be worth something. I would think, because there's just nothing that distinguishes them on the track. So even something as simple as like just them glittering or glowing on the track, I think would be pretty cool. I've heard little rumors of, advertisements for super coats or something, but that would be pretty sweet as well. I don't know if that'll actually ever happen.
I hadn't heard that. That'd be awesome.
That'd be super.
It may just be, in the depths of a Discord. Probably not true.
Who knows?
I think visual effects. Cool. I think visual effects. Ebbs, if you're listening, I know you lurk every now and then. If you can add some visual effects onto super coats, that would be awesome.
If they were like luminescent or something, just like shinier, that would be so.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about like as it's running, like sparkles or something.
Oh, that would be amazing.
That would be amazing.
It'd be like a shiny Pokemon running in the wild. They're everywhere.
Like flaming hooves or something,
That'd be dope.
And so that would increase the value of the super coat. Not more than the skin per se, like the oxy, but because super coats are still very hard to breed for, and you have to specifically try to actually breed for a super coat. And people were saying I remember before breeding came back, they were like, "Oh, it's like a 50% chance." Nah, it's more like a 10 or a 15% chance. If that, I might have been.
I think it's smaller than that.
Yeah,
I don't know, but that sounds high to me.
I think I saw it was like 3%. Like
okay, see,
yeah,
it's probably like it's very small. So if you succeed in getting your super coat, then you
need a
that
reward.
Should be some type of reward because you specifically tried for it.
You crushed it.
I think something else really cool that we could see in Zed would be like just like track ownership kind of. I think that would be really cool if you could like buy a track or buy like branding on a track or something like that. Because Riot Racers had that little like gas station thing, and I thought that would be cool if there was something like that for Zed. Like if you could like buy a track. So if you're like Hidden Gem Racing Stadium or something, and we run races at my place, that I bought, and I get like a fee percentage or whatever, and Zed gets their percent. And then obviously, the pots would change. However, would keep the numbers the same. But I think that could potentially be something really cool, just for like, even for the community or just for growth. Because like, imagine if one day there's like Coke. Coke wants to have a racetrack. Now we have the Coke track by Zed. Like that could be super cool and super profitable for the game.
ZG, because you know everything the devs have ever posted in Discord. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that is in the roadmap for Zed in the future, is for people to be able to own tracks.
I believe so.
I believe that's actually in there. Like sometime in the future, there's gonna be a drop like Genesis drop for tracks.
Nope,
So
I have Ethan.
That'd be wild. I'm gonna
that's
go broke.
Yeah, I would.
yeah. I believe though that that's a factual statement.
So,
Awesome.
of kind of your both of your stables, um, what do you have a favorite horse? And TakeoffTone, I'm going to throw a little restriction on you that you can't say Steph or VT.
Since I get the restriction, I'll go first. I do have a favorite horse. It's in my secondary stable, Diamond Kingdom.
Okay.
It's an offspring of BT.
Okay. All right. That's okay.
Its name is Shining Victory. It is looking really good. I like this horse. So far, that would be like my favorite horse that is in Courier BT that I have.
Nice. I like it. I like it. What do you so like? What do you like about it? It's a good racer. Like, what is it pulling good odds? Is it winning a lot? Like,
It was one of those horses where it's like it was pulling really good odds, but like its first like 25 races, it just was not winning. And I'm like you're getting like sevens and sixes and fives and eights and stuff. Like you're doing really well, but you're not winning, you know? So it was just kind of like fun to actually see that because I've seen people complain about that, but I've
yeah.
never experienced it, like where you have a good racer that just like hasn't showed up yet. So that was like kind of fun to play around with, especially because race times just went down. So it was like, I could figure this out in like a day versus like having to take all week to figure this out. So yeah, that's my favorite horse currently that I own.
That's kind of my I'd like to think of that as like the Zed equivalent of having diamond hands. Of like, man, I've got good odds, I've got good speed. It's just not winning. But
Right.
like it just keep holding on.
And you can't stop. You can't give up because as soon as you give up and give it to the next guy, then you're like, he just won 7 races in a row.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Yeah. What about you, Swami?
So I've kind of gone back and forth while I was waiting, but I think Stopped Out is probably my favorite horse. I got her on the May 8th drop, like drop price, didn't pay
Nice.
extra, and it's probably my most raced horse. I don't think it's my best horse anymore, but it's definitely my best Genesis. U horse. Can't hang with Steph Curry, but it did not stop me from trying back when I first got her.
That has a moon coat, right?
Powder,
moon color
yeah.
Um,
we should bring
yeah,
that
I was just checking it out before stream. Like that horse looks great.
yeah.
I just
I got that one. I got another powder blue Go Ranger. That's pretty sweet. As well.
I saw that one too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking them all up right now.
Yeah.
I have
All
a
right.
Z8 rare coat powder blue also.
All
Oh,
right.
nice.
Really fast. Got a question from friend of the stream, person who got me to start streaming and who put me in contact with MJ, Sean vs. All. It says, we know Zed is working on an internal marketplace. Should Zed add the ability to play the game with a credit card? Internal market plus credit card payments equals mass adoption. And what are your thoughts on that as well?
I think a lot of
Yeah,
people are going to go
I
broke
think it should
really
make it as
fast.
easy as possible.
Oh,
I agree, though. I agree.
I actually, because I live right next to a casino, and I live next to where I'm from near the casino, I'm gonna disagree with that. And the only reason I disagree with that is because gambling is an addiction just as bad as alcohol or narcotics or any of that type of things. And so I understand it would be easier for the masses to get into Zed that way. But I don't want it to be too easy because a lot of people in this world have addictive personalities, and I wouldn't want Zed to what's the word I want to look for? Help people lead to their own destruction. That's my personal opinion. It's just
Like
because,
enable it.
yeah, it's just because I live right next to a casino, and I know buying crypto and all that's a gamble, but you have to lose money in order to get into Zed to begin with. And so I'd rather have dedicated people who want to learn the platform and go through the hurdles and the difficulties that are involved with Zed in order to get into the marketplace and start gambling, for lack of a better term. But that's just a personal experience.
I completely
Yeah,
agree.
I see your point. Like, trying to make sure that they're invested fully. Like they've done some sort of research before you let them put that credit card on there. My only devil's advocate argument is I could buy crypto with my credit card right now.
Yeah, this is
See,
true.
that was kind of what I was gonna say. Is I think that while all his points are valid, like the fact that you can already buy things on OpenSea with your credit card automatic, I'm pretty sure you can already buy Zed horses with
Yes,
a
you
credit
can.
Yeah.
card. They just haven't put it into their internal marketplace. So I can see the benefit of adding it, but I also think that they should be wary of adding it because like you don't want like with crypto, you can't get defrauded. You know what I mean? Like someone can't say, oh, that wasn't me. I didn't do that. Like, no, it's connected to your wallet. You verified it. You proved it. Your wallet's connected to your bank account. We have your ID, your social. It all follows down the path. When they add like credit card payments and stuff like that could be like a potential fraud issue and stuff to deal with that. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't want to put any more stress on Zed. You know what I mean? Like they're
that's
building
fair.
something, they're working on something, and if they have to worry about chargebacks and get people for all that stuff, I'm never gonna get to buy
Yeah.
a track.
Yeah, buying horses with stolen credit cards. Yeah,
Right,
that would
I'm
be that would
I'm
be
never
pretty
gonna
rough.
get a racetrack. I'll be fighting for all forever.
Yeah, that's just one more level of things they have to focus on developing. Which I want all the racing stuff to get done. Like I want weather, I want gate preference, I want you know fatigue and all that stuff.
Equal
I don't
trade.
even like care about the next Genesis drop, to be honest, until all the racing stuff is implemented. Just because I love the game and I'm a gamer and I just from my personal opinion, I just want to use the strategies and the breeding strategies and make the game more complicated than it already is. Personally, I'm looking forward to it. I think most people are
Definitely.
because I think Ebbs has said today's donkeys will be tomorrow's champions. So
Hope so. Hope so.
yeah.
Dude,
Once we get my corkscrew races in here.
yeah, I agree with that completely. I think especially especially the part about donkeys being the next champions, man, because we're not gonna be running in a circle forever. You know, like there's gonna be hurdles, there's gonna be mud tracks, there's gonna be all that stuff. So like there's so many chances for people with diamond hands to have that, oh my god, I knew it, I knew this was worth it moment, like, and that's what makes the game great.
Yeah.
Like you do something,
Yeah.
you test the theory, and it pays off. And they're gonna make that. And I can't wait to see the day where all these people are harassing me like, oh, we smoked Steph in the mud. He sucks in the mud, blah, blah, blah. I'll be like, hey man, it's all a part of the game. I'm glad. I'm happy for you. I want everybody can't win the same race I'm in, but I want everyone to be able to go out there and win races, because that's a part of the fun of the game.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, just keeping it like open and accessible, I think, is huge.
Definitely.
Expanding that out. What about? Do either of you have like a very emotional or like excited moment when it comes to Zed? Like one particular thing that like stands out in your mind that's like, oh my gosh, this is wow.
I think I have like a little emotional thing, I guess. I mean, I bought a horse that was like named after my brother or whatever. Like my brother passed away like a year and a half ago or whatever.
Oh wow.
And when I
Sorry.
bought the horse, like his name is Drew Heavily. It's the rare coat powder blue or whatever. I bought that horse and it like won its first race. And like I literally almost cried. Like it was just like,
Wow.
and it's not even like a great horse, like it's an okay horse. I mean, I didn't know this at the time. I thought it was gonna be a superhero. But as it turns out, it's not the greatest horse, but it won its first race, and that was like really special to me. So I'll probably never sell that horse.
Wow. Wow.
No,
Sorry
you
about
better
your
not
loss.
sell that horse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Keep it.
Yeah,
Keep
no,
it.
I'm never selling. It's a
Yeah,
rare coat,
yeah.
and it's a Genesis.
Yeah.
They'll be staying with me.
yeah.
What about you, Swami?
Recently, I ran across a guy on Twitter that he was having a rough couple days with Zed. I guess he was frustrated. He wanted out. He said, "I'm liquidating my stable. Make an offer." And I was starting to be combative. I was gonna go comment and tell him he's a fool. But then I decided to just make an offer instead. And he wound up accepting a 1 ETH offer for a Z4 Zabo Genesis.
Wow.
And I've pretty much never been as excited as I was right then, because that's like considering what I've spent on some other horses, that's the deal that I needed for sure.
That is
And
amazing.
definitely the best deal that I've gotten to date. Yeah. He messaged me and he's like, "Hey, you don't have interest in like the whole bundle?" And I was like, "No, sorry." And I didn't think he was gonna accept the offer. And then all of a sudden it just showed up in my stable. I was like, "Thanks."
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild.
Steal a decade.
Yeah.
Especially like looking back now. How long ago was this?
That was like a month ago. It was not long ago. It was right before breeding came back.
So
Right before
crazy.
breeding came back.
Wow.
That's just an
Yeah,
amazing
yeah.
blessing.
I mean, it's not a great horse, but yeah, like you said, at some point we're going to be talking about it being a great mud runner or something.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
a Zabo Genesis, man.
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
lower.
Oh, I mean, it's already got stud fees. It's already got stud fees.
Definitely,
I mean,
that's gonna pay for that in itself.
Wow.
Yeah, in the lower, somewhere along the lines, it did say Zabos are going to be the best in the weather conditions. So look forward to that for all the people who own Zabos or have
yeah, for
horses
sure.
with Zabo blood.
Running in the rain.
That'll be great. Yeah.
And then I've got, I guess, kind of one last question for you both. My favorite question. Do you guys have any traditions or superstitions when it comes to Zed? So, like Giannis's free throws. You know how some people may say takes a little too long before he misses them, except for in the last game. But like, do you guys have anything that you guys do, whether it be gate, whether it be I don't know, routine? I always love wearing my gray hoodie. Like anything like that at all.
So I do like gate 7. Gate 7 is like always the gate that I hop into. It has no, it hasn't really paid off or anything, but gate 7 is pretty much always, like, if you go look at all my horses, like 90% of the races are in gate 7, I feel like.
Nice.
Yeah,
So will you leave a race if there is no gate 7?
No. I'll pick a different one, but like gate 7 is just kind of the one I always go to.
Gotcha.
So with me and part of my Curry superstition, I thought somehow his, super horse racing ability was connected to the fact that I always raced him in gate 9. And that's just because I heard someone say that one time, and I'm like, I'm only running in gate 9 forever. So there was a point in time where, like, if 9 wasn't available, I wouldn't even run in that race. I'd just go to the next one. And
I wish I knew that like 3 months
Right?
like I was like, oh, no 9, gotta keep it moving. So that lasted for a while, and I like just got out of that because, when races were feeling like super fast, I'm like, okay, if I have to wait for 9, I'm never gonna race today. Like, but that was my superstition. And if people remember the Eric Wong thing that everyone attacked me over, I did also say at a point in time I believed in the head bobbing. That's because I didn't know any better at that point in time.
Oh, sure,
I was like maybe week 3 of Zed I was in where I was like thinking about that. So I thought that, like, when his head's moving, he's getting ready to do something. When it's not moving as much, there's nothing there. So I've been through a lot of little superstitions.
Well,
I like it.
Honestly, right? That Eric Wong article where you said you look to see how fast where he breaks at, and then you try to put him where he breaks at. That worked for me to win some races. And King Beavershot said the same exact thing about looking at that.
Yeah.
And ZG, and I'm talking about like Generation 1, Generation 2 people. ZG, Zed, the guy behind, one of the co-founders of Zed Gazette, also said the same thing. So it's a controversial issue in the Zed community, but people attack you because they didn't know. Because not a lot of people watch the King Beavershot videos like I did. And so he said, I just look to see where it's breaking. And then I seen that after I read the Eric Wong article. And I still think it holds, like if you're racing a lot in a day, I think the horse shows different tendencies through different days. It breaks at different points. I agree with you on that. So
see, that was a huge thing that I noticed with Curry was like, I wasn't in the beginning. I didn't know about all the odds and the advanced analytics and all that stuff. So I was just watching the race to see what I can see. I knew how to look up odds. I saw the odds were good. Now what am I seeing visually? Like, what is that giving me? And it honestly worked for me with Curry because I had people telling me like, oh, try him at this or try him at that. Like he might be better at this or better at that. And like before I had any like real knowledge of it, I already knew. I'm like, from 2K to 24K, he's the best. People are like, oh, try him at 18. He's breaking at 18. I'm like, no, dude, he breaks at 18 to win in 700 more and win the 24 or whatever he's racing in that race. So like I thought that was legit. And after the lashback or whatever from that article, I'm like, okay, well, not gonna even look at that anymore. But I thought it was cool because people were so upset about that. I was shocked. I'm like, it's not Eric's, it's nobody's fault. Like it's not like I'm giving financial advice and saying like buy a horse that does this. I was just saying like this is what worked for me. Maybe it'll work for you,
Yeah.
And so,
Interesting.
right now, do you guys have any your social media is at TakeoffTone and Apes is at Apes Racing. Do you guys have any merch stores or are you guys going to start streaming? Any plans on the future for marketing your particular brands?
I'll let Apes take this one first.
Did you hear me, Swami?
I think he's frozen.
I'm breaking up a little bit. I think I kind of heard you, but you can take it away if you.
Okay, well, no store yet, no clothing just yet with everyone's favorite blue horse on it. But I will be returning to streaming this week. I'm taking a nice long break from streaming. I was so surprised. Everyone's like, "Why aren't you streaming? Why aren't you streaming?" I'm like, how did people notice I was gone? Like I didn't even think anyone would notice or care because I only had 2 streams. But yeah, I'm gonna be getting that up this week. I'm trying to decide on a day for that. But I will be returning to stream, twitch.tv. I think it's TakeoffTone on that also on all social medias. Trying to clean that up and make it nice and organized and easy for people to follow. But yeah, that's what we have coming up this week. Just a little bit more getting into streams for us.
Nice.
If you have it, like we stay in contact. So if you have all your social media links that you want for the YouTube video, don't forget if you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe. But I'll put it in the YouTube description along with any information you would like me to add to.
Okay, cool.
You.
I'll just go ahead and send you the Twitch link. That's where I'm gonna be doing.
Well, I already had that. I'm a subscriber.
Oh yeah, awesome. Dude, I was so surprised when all the people subscribed and were like liking the content and stuff. I'm like, dude, that's awesome. And then of course I shut it down right at the peak where everybody's enjoying it. I'm like, meh. But now I'll be back to it this week.
Yeah.
Do it.
Shout out to Zed Chateau. I see you in there.
Very cool.
All right.
Apes is coming back in.
Yeah. There you go, Swan.
My internet's it's not happening right now. No real like merch plans or anything like that. Just more for me. I don't really have any streaming plans or anything like that either at this point. Just more focused on breeding. Just pumping out good racers and with, like y'all said, with strategy behind it. And so just hopefully we'll see some more horses on the market in the coming weeks and months from Apes Racing.
Nice. Very exciting.
Hey, can I ask Apes Racing a question?
Yeah.
Dude, how many apes do you have? I think that's a
cool
name. Do you have like a ton of apes? How many bored apes do you have?
No. So ironically, Apes Racing is more like about GameStop, AMC. That's like the meme stocks is kind of what funded my Zed account. And so I made Apes Racing before Bored Ape Yacht Club, and honestly, it was me being snooty and arrogant that I didn't buy a bunch of apes. So I was like, no, I'm already Apes Racing. I don't need these apes. I did have 1 ape, but yeah, I should have bought like 15.
That's amazing. Yeah, I got 1 ape also. I was just wondering because I see all the Bored Ape stables popping up. They have their Bored Apes Donkey Tournament and all that stuff. So I was just wondering how you were connected, if you were at all. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, ironically, this was before that.
Okay, and so the last question before we close out, unless you have anything else, MJ.
No.
And Swami, do you have any questions for TakeoffTone? All right. So
Nope. I
this
think
the
I think
last
I'm all good.
question I'm gonna ask is, um, do you have any advice? Not financial advice, just advice for any new stables or any people who want to enter the metaverse going forward?
Take your time. Uh, take your time. When I came in April, like right after that drop, I was buying stuff because in my mind, if I didn't buy it, somebody else was, and there was never going to be a better time to buy than right now because tomorrow the price is going to go up, and now I've gotten better. I've made better and better purchases the longer I've been in this. So just take your time and ask questions from good people in the community. Like if somebody comes into your DMs, just delete that. But like there is a lot of good people around the community that will help you and they will give you advice and tell you what they think. Because a lot of times you'll be like, hey, I think this is a really good horse. You'll post it, and many people will say that is not a good horse, or you're overpaying. It'll take you some time to find a good deal.
Definitely. I think personally, one thing I'd tell people who are getting in and who are new into the metaverse and Zed Run and all that stuff is just make sure to diversify, man. Because the number one thing I feel like you see with people is when you put too much ETH in one area, you get kind of angry or frustrated with how things are moving and the pacing and all that stuff because you overinvested and you put too much money into something wanting immediate gratification from that, and I think like one of the best things that's happened for me, honestly, has been like taking a little pullback from Zed. Like I still am on there every day, but taking some ETH out of Zed, and using my money in other places to kind of experiment and learn other things and try out other stuff because like diversification is going to be everything. And if you think Zed Run is growing, the whole NFT space is growing, and everything's going up, man. So like, just make sure to get into good projects, good communities, all that stuff, and balance your time, and don't go all in on one individual thing.
I like that. I
That's
like that.
great advice. And so I want to thank you guys for showing up and thank everybody for who stayed on the stream. Um, Next week we do have K Kirk, who owns the Crimson Chin. I think it's Crimson Racing. Sunday at 9, same time. Thanks everybody for showing up. Have a good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
guys.
Thanks for having us.